When me and Bailey first decided to go to Utah, I didn't really know what to expect. I know the Mormons first settled there, and it apparently has the greatest snow on earth, but after this trip, it definitely exceeded all my expectations.
I will go with you. Watch the ocean kiss the moon. Run away with me. Where the morning paints the scene.
We arrived at our B&B at about 10:30 a.m. in Salt Lake City. The next day, we got up bright and early to go to Snowbird Ski Resort. It's this beautiful resort in the heart of Wasatch National Forest. It was also Bailey and I's first time ever snowboarding. I'm not gonna lie, I thought I was gonna shred right away because I used to skateboard. Nope. I probably fell about 50 times.
I'm exhausted. I'm for real exhausted.
We went to the very highest freaking peak that they have here. And we tried to go down the intermediate slopes. And here we are.
Yep, we
On
are
the lift.
taking a lift down.
After multiple falls, we finally were able to get the hang of it, and we were able to go down a slope. The next morning, we made our way to Zion National Park at about 6:30 a.m. It's a 4.5-hour road trip south of Utah near Springdale. The trail that we had on our bucket list was Angel's Landing. It is a 5-mile hike round trip, and it's a strenuous hike with steep hills and a narrow path to the very top. Bailey and I were very reluctant to go on this hike because the pictures and videos on the internet made it look very scary. In the beginning, the trail was paved, so it made it easier to go up. It was still tiring though. Once we got past Scout's Lookout, the real trip began. We had to maneuver through narrow trails with chains to hold on to. But honestly, once we got up there, we were hiking that section of the trail. It wasn't that scary as I thought it would be. I do suggest if you ever go on this hike to wear shoes that have really good traction. Because if you don't wear the proper shoes, you can slip and it might not end well. After hiking the last half mile of the summit, we finally made it to the final section, which is just a flat, straight, and narrow way to the lookout. And once we got there, that view took my breath away.
How's it feel?
It feels so good.
Oh.
Of course, we had to take a couple snapshots while we were up there. We also met a friend on the way there. His name was James, and I offered to take a couple pictures of him, and this is how it turned out. And we also saw this little chipmunk too, just chilling up there with us, just doing what chipmunks do. After 10 to 15 minutes of hanging out at Angel's Landing, we decided to go back down because we didn't want it to get dark on us. And we gotta go back down. It was a tough hike, strenuous, going up, but I think it was definitely worth it. I think it's better than the Grand Canyon.
Honestly, that
What do you
hike
think?
was
We
way.
didn't really do much in the Grand Canyon. But
Yeah. I'm
But
sure
like-
they have really good hikes that we didn't go on, but this was just one of the best hikes I don't
Yeah.
think anything will ever beat this.
Not yet. We ended our night in a cabin with very little amenities, but it was perfect. We made s'mores over a campfire, drank a glass of wine, and enjoyed watching the stars in the sky. The next morning, we woke up bright and early, watched the sunrise, and drove to Arches National Park. It's a 4.5 hour drive located east of Utah in Moab. Once we arrived at Arches, we decided to take the Delicate Arch Trail. It was an easy hike that took us about 45 minutes to get to the top. Once we got to the end of the hike and we saw the arch, we just sat back and admired at this amazing monument. Our last day in Utah was unexpectedly my favorite part of this trip. On our very last day, we decided to go to Great Salt Lake. We first went to Antelope State Park, which is an hour northwest from Salt Lake City. We hiked up this trail called Buffalo Point, and we actually saw a buffalo, or maybe it was a bison. I cannot tell the difference. For our last adventure, we drove to Bonneville Salt Flats, and this part blew me away. You just have to be there. Everything was just perfect, the sky was perfect, everything was just so vast and big, and I just felt like a kid again. Me and Bailey spent the last hour of that night watching this beautiful sunset and just feeling so free and liberated. This trip was just the perfect place to escape reality. With everything that's going on in this world right now, I think most of us can agree that it can be a little overwhelming. So this was just a great way to explore, be in solitude, just focus on the present, and enjoy all the natural beauty this earth has to offer. And we couldn't have chosen a better place to do this than the state of Utah. There are just so many more adventures to take on here, and it would be impossible to achieve in just 1 week. So Utah, I'll see you soon.